Carlos, I know it's Juan Soto, but given how hot Pete has been, were you a little surprised that they walked him there?
Honestly, I wasn't. I think he gets to a point like pick your poison there. You either go after Juan Soto or you got another good one behind him, and they decided to pitch to Pete, and I'm glad he came through. But yeah, those are some of the decisions that as a manager you have to take. He took it, and I'm glad they worked out our way. But I wasn't surprised at all.
Is that in that moment, though? I don't know if you're thinking this way, but is that one of the things where you sit back and you say, all right, this is what makes us potentially so dangerous that you have to make a decision like that?
100%. It's not an easy decision when you're sitting in the other dugout, and especially with the way Pete is swinging the bat now, like we feel really good about our chances. Whether it's with Juan, whether it's with Pete, and whoever we got behind those guys. I've been saying it that as long as we're creating traffic and making things happen, eventually we'll get the big hit, and then we got it today. So.
Dave.
Wasn't quite the same situation, but they also kind of pitched around Pete earlier, and that's when Nimmo hit a double too. So is that just kind of more of the lineup that you're seeing put together like that?
Yeah, and it's not easy to game plan, especially when you have not only good hitters, but is it righty, lefty, or is it a switch hitter? It's hard, and we saw it today. Like you said, looked like they were pitching around Pete, and then Nemo came through there. So deep lineup, really good hitters, and they're gonna come around.
Peter.
Carlos, what did you see from Clay Holmes today and the way he was diversifying his pitch mix?
I thought he was really good. I thought he was better than the line score, to be honest with you. I think he ended up striking out 10 on a day where the conditions were really, really tough, especially for a guy that his pitches move so much and how windy it was on that first inning, the walks. But he found a way, and, man, he made it look easy. And I didn't think it was that easy. He used all of his pitches, the changeup effectively, the slider, sweeper, the four seam played up today, and he threw strikes after he kind of lost it a little bit in the first inning. But I got to give him credit because for him to go back out in the sixth after what we saw in that first inning, conditions like this, I thought he did a hell of a job.
Manny.
Just wanted to kind of see what your take was on Brett Beatty. He seems to just be really struggling up there. What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, I mean, he's going through it right now, and he's going to have to continue to fight through it. There's time where I feel like he's getting behind it. They're attacking him early in counts. They're getting ahead, and he's missing his pitches. And then it's tough to hit 0-1, 0-2 a lot, and I thought today he got to 2-0 and then swung out the sweeper. He got to 3-1. So there was a couple of at-bats today where he was on hitter's count. And I think if he starts doing that, not chasing or not missing pitches when they're attacking him, he's going to be fine. So he's got to continue to grind through it, and he will.
Andy.
Vientos hitting this single the other way today. I think some hard contact yesterday. You seeing some signs there?
Yeah, yesterday, a few walks, smoke a ball. Today, hits up, I think it was like 108 to center field, the line drive, controlling the strike zone. I think there's some good signs there, and he'll come around too. I like the takes. I like the fact that he is executing his game plan, and he's another guy that it was good to see getting a knock there for him.
Dan.
Carlos, just following up on that, he seemed to react after that single. Have you seen it get to him at all? The slow start.
Not really. He goes out there, he prepares, he's playing good defense, he's engaged. I mean, you want to see some results, as a competitor, but it was good for him to get that one after hitting a bullet to center field and not getting results. He gets to a point where you might get frustrated, but I haven't seen anything from him. As long as he continues to control the strike zone, he's going to be in a good place.
Clay, what was the most challenging part of those conditions today?
It's just, I think the dry weather is tough. Especially when you have the wind, just the balls get slick, and it's one of those days where it's tough conditions. But we all have to pitch with it. And, I think after that first, you just kind of went in the mode of, let's try to make one pitch at a time and stack some pitches, and, was able to, get through a better outing. But, it was definitely an adjustment there to start with.
What were you able to do so well overall, though?
I think, I went to the four seam there. I think it just helped, start putting me in a little better counts. That's probably the most I've thrown the four seam, in a while. And at first it was just kind of, the pitch I probably had the most feel for, and then kind of got me in the zone a little bit and started, getting a little, some bad swings on it, kind of opened some things up. So I think that pitch really, kind of got me back in the zone and kind of found a good release where I could start pitching off that a little bit.
What do you do between innings to stay warm?
We got some heaters down there. You get in the tunnel, kind of move around. But I think I always say the pitcher, we're moving around the most. I think, for the hitters and the fielders, they're standing around. So you find ways, you bundle up. And, I think the cold, the cold's not terrible. I think it's just the dry windiness on top of that. It's kind of what makes days like today a little tough.
You had a stretch where you're throwing a lot of sweepers and sliders. Is that something where you're reacting to how it feels and swings and things like that, or is that more game planning going in with those hitters?
Some of both. Today it was kind of just, what we could kind of throw for strikes and kind of what felt good. And I think it's kind of where that started. I was able to land some sweepers there early and, started land some of the sliders and started getting some swing and miss on the sliders. And it's one of those things where, you're trying to get strike one and you do what you can with that, and then you kind of build off of it. But those two pitches definitely came into play, and they were pretty useful today for me.
And with that and what you said before about switching to the four seam, are those some of the adjustments that you can make in a game now as a starting pitcher that you might not have had time to figure out that stuff as a reliever? Yeah,
I think so. I think part of it's just having the the arsenal and, like I said, the awareness to kind of pivot. Instead of keep trying to force a sinker on a day like today, I was like, it's kind of tough early. It was either the yank more over the top or kind of slip out, arm side. And instead of just keep trying to force that, I kind of went the four seamer and kind of let that play kind of up and away to the lefties. And like I said, it's hard to get some good counts. So yeah, it's when you have a few more pitchers, especially after the first, like, what can I start doing a little different here? And was able to pivot and definitely helped out today.
But having you had a ground ball out for you to pitch as long as you did and not have one, considering your normal repertoire, what does that say about what you're doing?
Yeah, it felt weird, to be honest. It's just one of those things where you look up and, the Arsenal's a little bit differently. They had a lot of lefties, and so especially the wind, blowing in, and it was one of those things where I think it's just felt weird, but I think as I changed my arsenal and some things change, maybe there's some days where I get, less ground balls, and I'm going for a little less ground balls, and I'm going to more of the pitches in the areas that may play a little better. And I think like today, I started getting some swing and miss and some takes, and so some foul balls to help out early counts. But I think it's just part of the adjustment period right now.
How challenging is it to face the same lineup 2 starts in a row?
Yeah, you kind of learn them a little bit better. They learn you a little bit better. There's definitely, some give and take with both of it, I would say. I think having the deeper arsenal kind of helped with that a little bit. And like I said, I started throwing some more four seams, and there's some more sweepers today that wasn't really landing last start. So it's just, all of it's information you take in and kind of let your eyes process kind of what they're at and what their kind of game plan is, and you try to pitch accordingly.
As a reliever, you face the same team twice in a row all the time, or twice in the same series or something like that. Does that experience help? First time facing as a starter, facing a lineup twice, 2 outings in a row, or just in terms of preparation? And if so, what's the difference in preparing?
Yeah, I think part of it. I think learning as a reliever, you learn your strengths and you pitch off those quite a bit. And even coming to today, it's like, I know they just saw me, but my strengths are my strengths. And can't go away from those just because they saw them, last start. So at the same time, I knew the conditions might be a little tough, and some other things might come into play. But I think until your strengths show you otherwise, you kind of you go with those, and I think that's what pitchers ultimately feel comfortable with, and you definitely learn that as being a reliever. But there are times as a starter where you have to pivot, and today was one of those days where sinker wasn't quite there early and went at the four seam, and kind of got me back a little bit.
Clay, what do you remember about your last win as a starter 7 years ago?
Last win as a starter, was that against the Brewers?
I didn't look it up.
Was? Yeah, I think. I think it was against the Brewers back when I think Stearns was with the Brewers. I remember that was a hot time for in Pittsburgh. I think we went an All-Star break with a nice little winning streak, and felt good just to be able to get that win and that contribute to a team that was playing well at the time. And so it feels like a lot's happened in between those.
That's why David signed you.
I don't know. I doubt it. I'm sure I probably remember it a little more than he does. Being the only one.
It was the second game of a doubleheader.
Yeah, he has a doubleheader that day.
6 shutout innings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last year, you obviously got the front row seats of what Soto and Judge did together, and obviously, Soto and Peter doing. Just how difficult is that to navigate? As a pitcher, choosing to essentially walk Soto there to face him.
Yes. When you got a guy like Pete and Soto there's some tough choices for managers. Saw it last year, and you get guys on base in front of those. Man, it's tough. Just really kind of pick your poison. And so Pete's been swinging it really well, but obviously Juan's Juan, and he sets the tables, and he's able to do a lot of things. And I think we'll take both those guys up right now, runners on. So it's been nice, watching them, seeing them do the thing, and. Going in, it's like, you just keep that offense, give them a chance there. And after that first inning, he's like, hey, let's keep this at 2, and I know we're going to score some runs. So there's a lot of confidence in this lineup right now.